So Emory Tate, Andrew Tate's dad, was a chess international master. This game was 1998. So Emory starts with a king pawn opening, and his opponent plays the Sicilian. Now this is probably one of the strongest openings that you can play against white. A lot of people who play black know that you're always behind a move. So you have to be very, very strategic in how you play. If you just follow and mirror, you're never going to catch up unless the opponent makes a mistake. Sicilian, very strong. Now, this is setting up what's called the open Sicilian right here. This right here. You can choose to take. He'll take back. This opens up the position. And boom, it's exactly what happened. So everything's according to the book, according to chess.com's analysis. So now this becomes, I believe it's called the Kan. Kan. So you don't want the knight here. So you proactively, I believe this word is called prophylaxis. You proactively put the pawn here to prevent any shenanigans with the knight here. Because if you were not here, notice here, guys. See this? So the knight has a defender. A prophylactic move by Stanislav. And now, this is an interesting move. So there's a way to play this where you move the knight up here, and then it becomes what's called the Sicilian Grand Prix. But to first move this pawn, almost like a king's gambit type of thing, where eventually you might castle this way, right? So the rook would be here, and maybe the queen will be here. This is slightly not according to the book. You see the computer's like, it's not a mistake, but it's not the best move. So Stanislav tries to put pressure on the knight. Now the knight is being guarded by the queen, but still this is pressure to retreat and to counterattack, you see. So now this is hanging. This is something I've been working on in my own chess play. What pieces are hanging, right? You can attack it. And then something you also can do is look at it from their view too. So like they should be looking at, okay, what pieces are hanging? Well, this pawn seems hanging, right? So whenever you're looking at a position in chess, look at what's hanging. So anyways, so he retreats the bishop all the way back here. And see, this is another reason why this pawn move was powerful, because it gave the bishop this little pocket right here to tuck itself back. So now Emory puts the queen up here, sort of following what I told you, right? Maybe when he castles, you see, you're going to have a queen rook battery aimed at this weak pawn. This pawn right here is very weak because it only has one defender during the opening stage if you don't move pieces. So this was an incorrect move according to the computer, trying to apply pressure here and maybe here, right? Notice this is a hanging pawn. So going back to our paradigm of what's hanging, right? Stanislav looked and is like, oh, look at this pawn. This pawn is hanging, right? So he's attacking here and applying pressure here. But according to the computer, that's actually not a good move. Let's see why. All Emory needs to do is that, and Emory does not do that. See, that move right here would have also, you see, defended this pawn. Sorry, not that pawn, this pawn, right? Would have been a defense and an offensive type of move. But Emory decides to go here, going to the what's hanging paradigm, right? Look at this. This pawn has no defenders right now. And if he can come down here, that's really bad, because now this is hanging, this is hanging. Actually, no, only this is hanging, right? He would have to attack here. Stanislav goes ahead and attacks. There's also, notice here, there's a point of convergence here. Now, is that enough to complete any sort of attack? I don't think so. This is being guarded by here. This is being guarded by here. This is being guarded by here. So the only piece that's inherently hanging is here. You see this piece right here? So Emory proactively develops the bishop that way. Even if he captures, can't capture with check. So it's less forcing of a move. So Stanislav develops the bishop. Why does he develop the bishop? What does the computer say is the best move? Should it develop the knight? Exactly. Should it develop the knight? Because now if Emory comes down here, notice he could put the rook here. Actually, he can't. You know why? Because if Emory comes down here, the knight is actually hanging. So, okay, what is going on here? Let's see what the computer sees. Give up your knight? Wow. The computer's seeing very ahead, which most humans can't, right? The computer will be like, well, I'll give up my knight if I can also counterattack. You see? See, look at that. That's how the computer thinks, and this is bad. Now look at this. The king is kind of stuck, and you can't really get the king tucked away anymore. The king's in the center. I see. You see, at my level, can't really see this, right? Well, eventually, I hope to see this. But anyways, so that was an inaccurate move. And then Emory goes knight on the rim. So you guys ask, why knight on the rim? If you do it with a plan, look at this, attacking. Where can he go? Let's think about where he can go. He can't go here because of the pawn, right? He can't go here because of the knight. Can't go here because of the knight. Can't go here because of the rook. Can't take this because of the rook. Can't go here because of this or this. Can't go here because of this. Can't go here because of this. So he has to get his queen all the way back here. Or I guess you could take, probably taking would have been the best option. You know, your queen seems a little bit vulnerable. The issue is if you retreat your queen, you see, he's going to be able to take. So you probably just need to take, right? Let's see if I predicted what Stanislav did. Yep, exactly. So this is the best move according to the computer also. Remember, this is something that my friend Liam taught me. You want to have 2 more attackers than they have defenders, right? They got too many defenders right now here. Too many defenders. You only have 2 attackers, man. That's not enough. Look what Emory does. This was the best move according to the book. Now, let's see. So let's think about what it can do, right? One, you're threatening this, but actually you can't do that yet because this is being protected by that. So this is a future fork right here, but you can't do that immediately. So what else can you do that I'm not seeing? Let's see what the computer sees. Yeah, the computer. Okay, yeah, there we go. See, I was right. The computer does see a future fork here. You see that? Okay, the difference between me and the computer is the computer can plan it and execute it, whereas a human might take 30 minutes, if not an hour, to plan through all those moves. But anyways, so let's see if Andrew Tate, did I say Andrew Tate? Sorry. Let's see if Emory Tate actually can get this done. So a slightly inaccurate, but still a good move. If the knight goes here, you got a fork here. So should have gone here, but you know, he saw certain patterns, right, that weren't good. So that was a good move. So that was exactly like the book. So, okay, everything's working exactly like planned. So this is exactly, if we saw the computer analysis, right, the computer was also seeing this. Now, why don't you take this? Because again, it's being protected, right? Why don't you take this? Because it's protected. Why don't you take this? See the reason why, if you don't have enough attackers, you're actually sort of just overextending and wasting space. So, yep, retreat, and our man Stanislav actually found the best move here. So this is a check. This is the issue with moving here. So now you probably have to go here, here. Those are the only 2. You don't have any pieces that could block. Actually, you could block with the pawn. So that could be a possibility, but you could also retreat the king, right? But so you got this. So, okay, he goes with the pawn. So the computer said he should have gone with the king, but he goes with the pawn. Again, sometimes the best defense is offense. Now you're putting pressure on him. But notice, guys, there's a protector here, right? This is protecting the bishop if the bishop goes. And, ooh, he should have taken with the bishop. Emory made a slightly not book accurate move. He should have taken with the bishop. That's more direct, right? It's a more threatening move. So if he took with the bishop and then could have threatened the queen. Whoa, look at that. Okay, but instead he takes with the knight. Again, if you have a plan, it's not the worst, right? So let's see what Emory has planned. So guys, if you notice watching so far, who has the initiative? Who is dominating? Who's putting the other guy in the back feet? It's Emory, right? Emory's totally, look at 6.1 evaluation by the engine. So now Emory castles queenside. Now you might wonder, why would you castle queenside? Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Ooh, that does not look good, right? Whatever you do with this knight, that's a check right there. Before we keep going, there was something in the beginning I forgot to tell you. So, right about here, the one thing and why the engine recommended this, right? Not just because this is more book move. Also, what Emory did here, this, you see this diagonal? If you don't kick him off this diagonal, he prevents you from castling this way, right? And that's a reason why when he tucked it back here, notice he was still controlling this diagonal. So you can't castle until you remove the pieces that are guarding squares that the king has to travel to, right, to castle. So that was something I forgot to talk about last time or earlier. But let's go back to the action now. So we're here. It's very not looking good for Stanislav. So Stanislav goes here. Again, develop your knight, right? Also attack the bishop. So that is a good move. Also, on top of that, notice it's interposing. So now if you move your knight, you cannot have a discover check. So he decides to attack the queen. Now, what's defending? It's the rook, right? So the queen has to move unless it wants to exchange in a very unintelligent way. So now putting this in between, now he could just take here, though. So you are essentially given up a pawn for free because the queen's protecting, right? And yeah, you don't have enough defenders, right? I could be wrong. Let's think about this. 1, 2. 1, 2. Actually, no, you do have enough defenders. No, only if you're the attacker. No, you don't have enough defenders. So exactly. 2 into the chess. I'm forgetting the names. Tate takes with this, but you should have taken with the pawn. You know why you should have taken with the pawn? Because that way, you see, if he decides to attack with the knight, right, you have this. Whereas now that he went here, right, you lose your bishop that way. If you took the other way, look at this. He's not going to want to exchange as much. Look at this. Look at this. See, this is why computers beat humans. They're able to look at the full board all the time, where sometimes we humans see one attack that works, we just go for it. We don't look at the big scale, zoom in, and say, oh, maybe there's something even better, right? If it works, it works. And that's fine. Have fun with chess, guys. So anyways, this little exchange. So that was a pretty cool move. So notice this is a discover check. It's also an attack on the queen. So this is a double attack. Now the computer says he should have taken first because he still has this discover check. So get this piece off the board, simplify, and then take. So essentially, Emory right now is down a piece in the exchange and decides to go and attack. And if you think you can do it, as in you have a plan, do it, right? So the knight jumps back. So Emory misses out at an opportunity to capture a piece and be even in the exchange. Okay, so that's a slight inaccuracy. It doesn't matter because he's taken the queen, right? So helps the knight develop, but Emory's ahead. So now it's a queen versus 2 rooks, but Emory also has a rook, and then there's 3 minor pieces. So still anyone's game. Oh, Emory has an undeveloped rook here too. And then pawn structure-wise, there's 2, 3, 2, 3. So, all right. Now, see? Now this is a good move. So, very interesting. So the computer says, just give up the rook? What? Well, the computer says it's more important to hide the king than to protect the rook. Interesting. Wow. Okay. All right. That's the computer. But any human would want to protect your rook, right? Because your knights are guarding each other. So you can't take this because this is guarding this. So the only piece, if you wanted to use your queen, is to go here. And wow. Emory Tate goes for a check anyways, and this is something I didn't see because my mic is blocking down here. So this is my apologies, but this is actually a pin. The microphone, if you see my layout, is blocking the bottom of the screen, so I wasn't looking. There's a pin here. Okay, so that changes my analysis. Forgive me for not seeing this. I have my hand covering the top of the mic now. So now that we know that this is a pin, that makes a lot more sense now. So this is a pin, right? Notice this bishop never got any action, guys. Develop, 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 develop. So he develops here. You go down here. And that makes sense now why the computer says get your king out of the pin. Because yes, you're going to lose here. Right? You're going to lose this. But you can survive another day. And then potentially you could get your bishop out of the way. But it's basically lost even if you play more accurate according to the engine. So anyways, that's how it ended. In an attempt to save his rook, he lost his knight. And so he's forced to move there. And then this is very bad. Look at this. Look at this. So it is a mate in 7. It's a mate in 7. So according to the computer, first thing you do is here. Get this rook into it. And if he exchanges, he's lost. He's completely lost if he's exchanging. So now the rook, I guess the best move according to the computer is still that. So you retake. Knight's still pinned, right? And now make some room for the bishop to develop, right? But still, doesn't matter. You get the rook down here. This is protecting the rook. And you're basically boxing our king in. The mating net, as they say, is being formed. Right here. Defend this crucial square, right? And then take this, because if you come down here, that's a mate. So he's got maybe one thing to do, which is to check. And then you just move your king. Don't have any more checks, right? You can come down here. He'll get taken. So nope. So that actually is the best move. You can survive one more move longer, right? And then get the bishop potentially more developed, but it doesn't matter because that's mate. Yeah, okay, so Stanislav saw all this and realized, you know what? I resign. So it never got there, right? Right here. It got to here. This is where he resigned. So he saw. He's like, I'm going to get mated. Hope you like this analysis. If you want more analyses of Emory Tate, Andrew Tate's dad, Andrew, interesting. I think Andrew Tate actually is a pretty good chess player too. We could even look at some of Andrew Tate's stuff. What is Tate up to, by the way? And guys, if you don't want me covering any of this stuff, just let me know too. Okay, guys, hope you enjoyed.